Copenhagen. Denmark's capital sits on the coastal islands of Zealand and Amager. Nearby is Christiansborg Palace and the Renaissance-era Rosenborg Castle, surrounded by gardens and home to the crown jewels. The city's many parks include the famed Tivoli amusement park, dating to 1843, and waterfront Landslini, home to Edvard Eriksson's sculpture of Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. The pedestrianised Strøget is a hub for shopping, while the colourful old port Nyhavn is a dining destinations. Nyhavn. Nyhavn was constructed by King Christian V from 1670 to 1673, dug by Swedish prisoners of war from the Dano-Swedish War 1658 to 1660. It is a gateway from the sea to the old inner city at Kongens Nytorv King's Square, where ships handled cargo and fishermen's catch. It was notorious for beer, sailors, and prostitution. Danish author Hans Christian Andersen lived at Nyhavn for some 18 years. The first bridge across Nyhavn opened on the 6th of February 1875. It was a temporary wooden footbridge. It was replaced by the current bridge in 1912. As ocean-going ships grew larger, Nyhavn was taken over by internal Danish small vessel freight traffic. After World War II, land transport took over this role and small vessel traffic disappeared from the port of Copenhagen, leaving Nyhavn largely deserted of ships. In the mid-1960s, the Nyhavn Society was founded with the aim of revitalizing the area. In 1977, Nyhavn was inaugurated as a veteran ship and museum harbour by Copenhagen's Lord Mayor Egon Wiedekamp. In 1980, Nyhavn Quay was pedestrianised. It had been used as a parking area in the previous years, which had coincided with a dwindling of harbour activities. Since then it has become a popular spot for tourists and locals alike, serving the function of a square according to architects Jangel and Lars Gemso. Frederiksborg Castle is a palatial complex in Hillerød, Denmark. It was built as a royal residence for King Christian IV of Denmark-Norway in the early 17th century, replacing an older castle acquired by Frederick II and becoming the largest Renaissance residence in Scandinavia. Situated on 3 islets in the Slottsøen, Castle Lake, it is adjoined by a large formal garden in the Baroque style. After a serious fire in 1859, the castle was rebuilt on the basis of old plans and paintings. Open throughout the year, the museum contains the largest collection of portrait paintings in Denmark. Neptune Fountain. Designed by Adrian de Vries, The Neptune fountain is considered to be the castle's sculptural masterpiece. It was created from 1620 to 1622 to stand on the castle's forecourt, symbolizing Denmark's position as a leading Nordic power in the early 17th century. The Rose Room. The room on the ground floor in the King's Wing, known as the Rose, was originally a dining room for the king and his courtiers. It was also destroyed by the fire in 1859, but was reconstructed from old paintings. The two series of 6 vaults rest on freestanding pillars. It is thought Meldal managed to reuse parts of the window decorations, including the monograms of Christian IV and Queen Catherine. The chapel, consecrated in 1617, is also part of the museum. It is the best preserved part of the Renaissance complex, having largely escaped damage in the 1859 fire. The chapel extends along the entire length of the west wing with a long nave and a 2-story gallery. The richly decorated 6-vaulted stucco ceiling is borne by pillars rising from the galleries. The pillars bear Grail frescoes of biblical figures, painted in the 1690s. The galleries were decorated during the reign of Frederick III from 1648 to 1670, can be seen from his arms. The Great Hall, also known as Riddersalen, is situated above the chapel and also extends over the length of the west wing. It was destroyed by fire in 1859 but was almost fully restored thanks to architectural paintings made by Heinrich Hansen and F.C. Lund. The large chandelier in the center of the room is the work of Meldal's pupil, Carl Brummer. The copies decorating the walls of the hall today were created from Mander's sketches. Tivoli Gardens is an amusement park and pleasure garden in Copenhagen, Denmark. The park opened on the 15th of August 1843 and is the second oldest operating amusement park in the world, after De Rehavnsbakken in nearby Klampenborg, also in Denmark. With 4.6 million visitors in 2016, Tivoli is the second most popular seasonal amusement park in the world after Europa Park. Tivoli is the most visited theme park in Scandinavia, and the 5th most visited theme park in Europe, only behind Disneyland Park, Paris, Europa Park, Walt Disney Studios Park, and Efteling. The amusement park was first called Tivoli and Vauxhall, Tivoli alluding to the Jardin de Tivoli in Paris, which in its turn had been named from Tivoli near Rome, Italy, Vauxhall alluding to the Vauxhall Gardens in London. It is also mentioned in various books, like Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. Tivoli's founder, Georg Carstensen, obtained a 5-year charter to create Tivoli by telling King Christian VIII that when the people are amusing themselves, they do not think about politics. The monarch granted Carstensen use of roughly 15 acres of the fortified glacis outside Vesterport, the west gate, for an annual rent. Therefore, until the 1850s, Tivoli was outside the city, accessible through Vesterport. From the very start, Tivoli included a variety of attractions, buildings in the exotic style of an imaginary Orient, a theatre, bandstands, restaurants and cafes, flower gardens, and mechanical amusement rides such as a merry-go-round and a primitive scenic railway. After dark, colored lamps illuminated the gardens,